What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about Kickstarter, Indiegogo, how do you raise funds when it comes to putting a new product out there into the world, as well with my blog, crowdcrux.com, my podcast, my videos, my books, etc. I really try to share this with you in a bite-sized, easy to understand fashion. So you can go out there and you can actually do this, you can put this into action, and hopefully at the end of today's video, you'll walk away with a couple of things that you need when it comes to doing an effective campaign, and we're getting into it right now. All right, so what do you need when it comes to a killer Kickstarter campaign? What are some of the things that you need to put together? So I'm trying to kind of make this easy for you in almost like a checklist fashion, if you will. I think it'd be great if you take notes as well when it comes to going through today's session. So let's kind of talk about what do you need, right? What do you need? So this is not only to, what do you need? What do you need when it comes to actually doing a campaign? Also when it comes to being successful, what do you need when it comes to even just getting something out there? Like what are the bare bones things that you need? So when it comes to what you need in order to be successful with a Kickstarter campaign or an Indiegogo campaign or a crowdfunding campaign, these are the kinds of things that I've been trying to teach about on my blog, crowdcrux.com, which I started in 2012, on my podcast, Crowdfunding Demystified, which I started in 2015, and on my YouTube channel. I also have some books out there when it comes to crowdfunding, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, personal crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding, you name it, right? These are the things that you really need if you want to give yourself the best chance possible when it comes to raising money, attracting attention, building a brand, and really making the most of your time on any platform that is out there. So what do you really need when it comes to this? The first thing I want to mention is that you need to make sure that when you are doing a campaign, and this is so critical, so important, that you've really thought of interesting perks or rewards. So you're gonna need this for most of the different platforms that are out there, but specifically for Kickstarter and Indiegogo, interesting perks and rewards are kind of like just something that you need to even get people's attention in the first place. If you really haven't thought out your rewards, and they don't necessarily have to be super creative, bananas, off the wall kind of things, right? It could be something that's just as simple as, I'm gonna be delivering a really great version of the product. However, it also has this and this and this. Maybe it also has an early bird offering of some kind. Maybe it's off retail price by a particular amount. When we think about how can you make these rewards interesting, spicy, make them sizzle a little bit, and even make it where it's like the person doesn't even necessarily want the first reward, they want maybe the second reward, they want even a bigger package so you can increase your overall order value when it comes to the amount of people that are funding your campaign. So think about interesting perks and rewards, that's the first thing you're gonna need. The second thing that you are going to need is a compelling video, okay? I have some great YouTube videos out there on the actual Kickstarter video if you wanna look that up. And the reason is that, there are certain kind of, I guess, best practices, if you will, when it comes to the actual duration of the video, how to actually make one of these videos with the B-roll, transitions, etc. What styles of videos are great when it comes to Kickstarter, which ones are not so great that you should keep away from when it comes to doing a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo campaign. You're gonna need a compelling video, and it does behoove you to even be willing to invest in this, because a great video is an incredible marketing asset, which you can use when it comes to going further on when you're building your online store, when it comes to your social media. This is something that can actually go viral. So if you invest in a really good video, one of the best investments that you can make when it comes to a Kickstarter campaign, but you're definitely going to need at least a compelling video for your page. The next thing that I recommend getting is interesting, compelling, or I would say almost high quality, if you will, photos of the product. So I'm going to say high quality or high fidelity, high quality photos / creative. So creative could also be things when it comes to like images that you make or GIFs, etc., like all that kind of stuff. So high quality photos and creative. Why is this a must? This is a must because again, you're trying to get strangers on the online world that's out there. So many strangers, I mean, it's kind of like, if you think about it, the internet is just a huge place. You literally have millions of people that you can access on a Kickstarter campaign platform, that you can access on Indiegogo. You are accessing, the world is at your fingertips. There's so many, it's so international, right? You have so many Americans that are browsing on these sites, and it's something where you can actually tap into a massive crowd that's much larger than anything that you could do on your own, right? So having high quality photos and creative just gives you the best chance possible to make sure you resonate with that crowd, versus they look at another campaign and it has better ones and like, maybe this other one is going to be more interesting, right? For me to actually take action on it and me actually to participate in. So these people are participating, they're backing your campaign, they're funding your campaign, they're becoming a patron of your campaign, right? And this is so incredibly important because the more effort you put into wooing those people, the more effort you put into showing that you are serious about this with great high quality photos, with great imagery, with really interesting graphics, etc., the more likely you are to actually capture their attention, show that you're serious about this, build a little bit of trust, and get them excited about becoming a part of your community and becoming a backer of your campaign. So make sure you have high quality photos. Videos is definitely one of the things that you need. Number 4, what you're going to need is what I call a marketing strategy document or a well thought out marketing plan. okay? So we're gonna say marketing strategy, okay? Now, why the heck do you need a marketing strategy? If you were a commander and you're trying to take over a country, right? You're a general, if you will, back in the day, and you're trying to conquer a nation. Are you just gonna say, hey guys, let's go and try and conquer that nation. Let's just go down there, and let's really bust in and let's try to take over this whole country, right? You're not gonna say that. You're probably gonna have a war room where you're meeting with all of your generals. You're like, guys, we're gonna do this then, and you guys are gonna move your troops this way. We're gonna write out the entire strategy and the battle maps. And you got all these things, right, that are all written out. You have a strategy before you make a major maneuver of some sort, right? For example, if you're trying to build a skyscraper, you're trying to build a house, you're trying to build an architect, something that mankind has been able to make, which is so incredible. The pyramids, for example, right? You're trying to make a huge structure and try to make something that even other people later on are looking at and they're like, this is so great. How did you come up with this product? How did you make that campaign, right? How did you raise that much money when it comes to a crowdfunding, campaign? You need to build a strategy. When you're making major maneuvers, when you're really trying to have a leg up in your life, when you're trying to climb the ladder, right? You're trying to get something out there that's never been out there before, you need a strategy. And this is one of the most difficult things when it comes to a campaign because most beginners don't really know where to begin. Maybe they're a creator, maybe they're an inventor, maybe they've come up with a new product idea and they're great on that, but they don't know how to actually develop a marketing strategy. So this is actually where a lot of my coaching calls will come in. A lot of people will call in, they'll be asking for help when it comes to developing this or fine tuning this. So if that sounds interesting to you, go and check out my coaching links down below. But you're gonna need a marketing strategy so you make the best use of your time when it comes to being live with one of these platforms as well, leading up to a campaign. Number five, and I think accidentally I changed my color here, right? Number five, I've been getting really excited, guys. You guys are getting me excited about this. I'm so excited that we're bringing new products into the world. We're bringing new ideas into the universe. Like, honestly, this is one of the reasons why I love doing what I do, right? But number five, when it comes to this, is making sure that you have an audience. So what do you need? You need an audience. However, it doesn't have to be very big. It could be a micro audience, we would say. But whatever it is, you're gonna need at least a little bit of an audience. Now, I talk about this in my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, which is available on Amazon, available on Audible. Audible is doing a really great new promotion where you can actually get a free copy of The Kickstarter Launch Formula if you get a free trial of Audible, which I think is a no-brainer idea, right? Love training, love listening to that when on the way to work. You're just kind of listening when you're running, right? You're getting fit at the same time. You're learning as a sponge. Really cool, and also a great way to wake up as well in the morning. So I'll link that up down below. But when it comes to audience, you need to have something that you've built, and this really feeds into what I call the pre-launch, right? So back in the day, back in 2012, we were discovering and looking through these different types of campaigns. It was kind of a mystery at the time as to what helped crowdfunding campaigns get funded. So I was actually one of the first people to pioneer this concept of a pre-launch and how that actually leads into a successful campaign. And that's what I put into my entire book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, right? So this audience building is so critical and so crucial. And the reason is that it helps you get funded faster and easier, okay? And in addition, when it comes to the pre-launch, it's also so great because it adds so much social proof to your campaign. It helps you rank well in the charts when you're going live. So to me, it's like a no-brainer to do this. However, for most people that are just getting started, they haven't really thought that through and they're like, oh, I have to have an audience, right? Oh, I don't know because I don't know anyone online. How am I gonna build an audience? How am I gonna do that? I thought I was gonna do Kickstarter for that, right? I thought I was gonna use Indiegogo to build the audience. Well, there's actually a really easy way to build an audience, again, that I talk about in my books, training, etc. So you need to have an audience of some kind before you go live. I really recommend this, and I would actually say that you would be remiss if you didn't do this. There are successful examples on my podcast of people who have not built an audience before going live with Kickstarter. You can see them being successful, trending in the charts, trending on the platform, etc. However, they are the exception to the rule. And when it came to my teachings, the reason why I founded CrowdCrux, the reason why I put out educational videos like this for you for free is that I want to help you be successful, right? I want to help you see results. I want to help you smash through your goals, right? And I think that if we were to teach around the exceptions, it wouldn't really be as useful for people out there. So one of my biggest goals or objectives, if you will, is to help us improve the conversion rates, help us improve the success rates when it comes to crowdfunding campaigns. So if you build an audience, you are more likely to be successful. If you do the above things, you are more likely to be successful. This is almost a scientific process that I've gone through myself to understand this and to deliver this to you. So if you're looking for the scientific way to kind of go step by step through what's going to make you more successful, you definitely want to build an audience, right? However, again, I have to say there are exceptions to that rule. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. Number 6, and this is probably actually one of the more common mistakes that I see out there. Every once in a while, I'll have someone come to me and they're like, Sal, I really wish I had listened to you ahead of time. Maybe booked a coaching call with me and we talked about this, and they're like, Sal, I really wish that I had done that. Like, next time I'm gonna do a campaign, I'm going to do this. So make sure that you don't make this mistake. But this is one of the things that you're going to need when it comes to a crowdfunding campaign audience, and that is to warm up your crowd. Now, why is this important? The reason why this is important, when I say your crowd, I'm talking about your friends, first and secondary connections, your audience, etc. The reason why this is important to warm up your crowd is that if you don't do this, what's gonna end up happening is that people are gonna come to your actual campaign when you actually announce it, and they're gonna have tons of questions, or they're not gonna understand, why are you doing this crowdfunding thing? Why are you doing this campaign? What are the benefits of joining this, right? And they might not tell you that. What's actually gonna happen is they're gonna go there, they're gonna look at that, they're gonna be like, this is interesting, and they're gonna leave. And that's kind of how backers are, that's kind of how consumers are. They're not gonna voice these things. They're gonna tell you, if you did this, this, and this, I would be willing to support you, right? Wouldn't that be amazing if they just kind of like, you could telepath and they would just literally say exactly what you need to get someone to take action to buy your product? However, it doesn't work that way. They're not gonna come out there and say, well, if you did this, this, and this, I would back your campaign immediately. Can you do those things and I will do that? No, you have to figure this out. And I'm telling you that one of the things that holds people back from supporting you, even your friends, even your family, is understanding, is this an important thing in your life? Why is this something that they should get involved with? How does this whole Kickstarter thing work? Is it a secure platform even, right? What are some of the things they can get by supporting this project? What else would you like them to do? Would you like them to share this campaign with their friends and their family? How can they help out? Are you specifically asking them to do this or not? Are you just kind of sharing this link because you're just showing them something cool that you're doing? You gotta be specific. You gotta explain a little bit about crowdfunding. You gotta explain how this is a big event in your life. You gotta explain why you've been working so hard on this product, building different iterations, getting this out there, right? The more you warm up your crowd, the more likely they are to take action immediately when you go live. Because if you don't, again, they're gonna have all these questions, all these concerns, all of these things that are kind of keeping them back from taking action when you go live. If you address that ahead of time, they can just show up, they don't have any of those, and they can immediately take action when it comes to supporting you and backing your crowdfunding campaign. Number 7, this would be remiss if you did not have this when it comes to a launch. And you already doing this to a degree, so I commend you. You need training. You gotta have training before you go live with the campaign. You need to have proper training when it comes to doing a project. Now, even if you're not planning to do it yourself, if you're trying to hire someone, you're gonna hire this out, you're gonna have someone just take over your project, etc., right? You can necessarily do that, but it really behooves you to have a little bit of your own training. In the same way that if you understand the job, if you understand the processes, if you understand what goes into this, you can also manage those people that you are hiring much more effectively. And if you're trying to do this yourself, you gotta have training, right? Where else are you gonna get the knowledge? There's a gap between you here and what's gonna be you that are successful. That person is different, actually. So the person who's successful, that version of you in the future who is successful, who has a fully funded campaign, who has lots of backers, who has a new community, who's actually producing this product on a massive scale, getting it out there to people around the world, that person is different than who you are now. You know how they're different is that they went through a process, that they became more, that they actually learned things, they invested in their education, they invested in learning, they actually understand more of how this works than you do now. So there's a gap. There's you now, right? Let's kind of try and make this a little bit more concrete, right? So not just illustrate this. If I was to put this here, right? Let's say a little really bad drawing, right? There's you now, and you now has a little bit of education, understanding of how crowdfunding works, right? And then there's you with a fully funded campaign, right? And there's a gap here between person A and person B. And they're both you, but one of them has become more. One of them has risen to the occasion. One of them has actually been so courageous and been willing to get something out there, but also they're doing it in a smart way, right? They're really applying a scientific process to this pursuit. They're investing in their training. They're more aware of the pitfalls they need to avoid, of what they actually have to do, how to be successful. They understand the process. This person is different than this person. And the reason why they are different is that they've actually grown into being someone who now understands crowdfunding, who now is able to launch a campaign effectively, not just do one, they can actually do multiple if they wanted to. And at the very least, they can actually direct and manage other people without realizing whether or not this is actually a good thing. Is this person doing the right strategy? Are they not, right? So going from person A to person B is a gap. And the way that you close that gap is with other people's experience, okay? So you can't experience this for yourself. You can't just project yourself in the future and run a crowdfunding campaign and have that experience. So what can you do is that you can learn from other people's experience. So you can do that when it comes to my podcast. You can do that when it comes to videos that I put out there. You can do that when it comes to my Kickstarter launch formula book. You can do my book and coaching calls, right? Etc. I have programs out there. I have courses. I have long-term coaching. You need to, in some way, bridge that gap so that that person, all of a sudden, you start to every single week be soaking up your mind almost like a sponge, ingesting these tips, ingesting these tools, ingesting these techniques. You start to become really aware of what you have to do in order to go live. You start to even look at different campaigns. You're like, oh, okay, that's interesting how he did that. That's interesting how they did this, right? You start to become a student of the craft. And you don't have to necessarily, study this for a lifetime, but if it made you, even 5 times more successful than you would be, it's well worth your time. So make sure that you train, make sure you study this, make sure you become a learner of this, make sure you become a student of this. And the more you do that, the more you de-risk this entire launch, the more that you make it go in your favor much more likely. And you kind of almost apply a little bit of a scientific method to this process so you can launch smartly, intelligently, you can do things by the book. And again, like I said, you're more likely to be successful just based on a statistical analysis. So again, my name is Salvador Briggman, and kind of the reason why I also talk this way is that this is kind of how I actually got started in the industry, which is, back in the day, I was doing a logistic regression, comparing different categories on Kickstarter for my mini econ thesis. And what I discovered when I was doing that research was that different categories perform differently. So for example, your social network matters more in some categories versus not as much in others. Or your trust factors matters more in some categories, but not as much in others when it comes to your social proof. So I was actually doing a study of this on my own, and this is what got me so freaking bananas excited about this and wanting to bring just more and more research to the world when it comes to this. So I really urge you to take action on some of these points. Links down below for the things that I mentioned here in today's video. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Come subscribe to the channel for more content just like this, and I will see you next time.